Hello, hello, welcome back. All right, so this is the document I posted today. This is going to be page 84 in your notebook. So if you want to go ahead and number and title these two pages. Page 85 will be the quiz. And this quiz is an independent quiz. Keep in mind to just work on it on your own, okay? This is for me to see how you're doing, if you're understanding the material, what else we need to practice before we take a test. So, strongly encourage you to just work on this independently. It's very obvious to me when you guys send pictures around of the answers because it'll look almost identically the same. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Work on that by yourself. It's easy for me to compare your papers now more than ever with the digital upload. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Okay, so we're going to cut this in half. If you're still following the notebook, if not, that's totally fine. I'm just trying to keep things normal. Keep working on the notebook. Okay, this is going to be due, what's today? This is not going to be due, sorry, the quiz is what I'm collecting. So this is just taking what we did before, projectile motion, and just doing more types of problems with it. And then the quiz I'm going to collect on Monday at midnight. Turn it in on Monday. And I'll give you back your feedback on Tuesday. So I'm not going to have you submit this. This is just more practice. Maybe you'll find some of these questions on the quiz, but the quiz is going to be due Monday. So it's up to you if you want to glue this in right now or later. I'm going to just put it in the pocket page to keep it safe. Hope you all are doing well. Hope your family is doing okay and everything is going good. Okay, projectile motion part 2. So I formatted it so that the first two questions are just like the last two questions. So I'm going to do number 1 and number 2, and then you can use that process to do 3 and 4. I'm going to host a Zoom on Monday, so if you have any questions on this or even about the quiz, I can answer those questions for you during the Zoom. Okay, number 1. The Sears Tower at 1,451 feet is one of the tallest structures in the United States. A penny is thrown from the top of the tower. The height h of the penny is recorded after each second t. So this is just letting you know that h stands for height, t stands for time or seconds. Using the equation h equals negative 16t squared plus 35t plus 1,457, find the approximate height of the penny after 7 seconds. So they give us a table here of the first 4 seconds. The penny is at the top of the tower, and then they throw it up in the air, so you can see it has kind of a height right there. It's getting taller, but then it starts to decrease as it goes on. So 7 is going to be t, 7 seconds. So that means the time is 7. They want us to figure out the height of the penny. They want us to figure out what h would be equal to at 7 seconds. So what do you think we should do? Yeah, so since they give us t is 7, and our formula is in terms of t, and it gives us the height, we just need to take these t's out and plug in 7. That will give us the height at 7 seconds. Now I saw some mistakes on the last projectile motion we did when we were plugging in numbers. Just be very careful where there's variables. When we're going to put parentheses, plug in the number. And then be sure you have a constant at the end if the equation has a constant. Now when you go to do this on number 3, notice that there's no t in the middle here. There's just t squared. So you're only plugging in right here, and then you're going to square that, multiply by -16, and then just add 320 to it. So there's no there's no variable in the middle of the equation. So just plug it in right here. Then you're going to add. All right, let's do the PEMDAS. So we need to, there's nothing to do in the parentheses. We need to square the 7, so we have -16 times 49 plus, and now we can start our multiplication. 35 times 7 is 245. At the end, we're going to add that 1,457. All right, let's multiply -16 times 49. This gives us -784. And now we can add all the numbers together. So, -784 plus 245 plus 1,457. That gives us 918. So the height at 7 seconds is 918 feet. It's not too bad on that one. You're just plugging in whatever time they're asking for to get the height. Then we have your input and your output. All right, number 2 is a little bit more advanced. I could totally see the FSA asking it. Even though you're not taking the FSA this year, keep in mind you are going to take it whenever we go back to school to get your graduation requirement. So, number 2, a circus acrobat. So, a guy that performs in the circus is shot out of a cannon with an initial velocity of 50 feet per second. The equation for the acrobat's pathway can be modeled by h equals -16t squared plus 50t plus 4. How many seconds will it take for the acrobat to land on a platform 10 feet off the ground? So this is very similar to what we did on page 83. Like on number 3, for example, how many seconds or how long will it take for the fireworks to reach the ground? So that was when the equation was equal to 0. Now it's asking us how many seconds will it take for it to reach 10 feet off the ground. So instead of landing on the ground, we're landing 10 feet above the ground. The height is 10. So we are actually going to start by equaling the equation to 10. So instead of it being equal to 0, now it's equal to 10. They want us to know how long it will take for him to land 10 feet off the ground. We are going to solve it the same way we did before by using the quadratic formula. So remember to use the quadratic formula, you have to make it equal to 0. So how can we make this 10 a 0? Yes, subtract the 10 over. So we're going to subtract it from its like term before. So now the equation that we're working with is -16t squared plus 50t. And now combine these, that makes -6. So now that the equation is equal to 0, we can use the quadratic formula to solve for the seconds, how long it takes for the acrobat to shoot out of the cannon and land on a 10-foot platform. So let's identify A, B, and C. A is negative 16. B is positive 50. And C is negative 6. So let's plug those into the quadratic formula. We need to do the opposite of B, plus or minus square root B squared minus 4 times A times C all over 2A, 2 times negative 16. Okay, let's do the PEMDAS, figure out what's under the square root sign. So we have negative 50 plus or minus the square root. 50 squared is going to be 2,500. And we have negative 4 times negative 16 times negative 6. So that is going to give us a negative 384. And all of that at the very end will be divided by negative 32. Some of you are dividing after you do the subtraction. Do not do that, okay? We're going to divide very last step. So keep doing what's under the square root. We are going to have negative 50 plus or minus square root 2,500 minus 384 is 2,116, and all of that will be divided by negative 32. So now let's break this up. Let's break this up into the plus sign. Negative 50 plus the square root divided by negative 32. And what do we get when we do negative 50 minus the square root? All divided by negative 32. Alright, so using the FSA approved calculator, we are going to type negative 50 plus 2,116 square root equals divided by 32 negative equals. Now that gives us 0.125. Alright, let's see what we get when we minus. 50 negative minus 2,116 square root equals divided by 32 negative equals 3. Okay, so this is where we have to be a little bit logical and think about the situation. So we're at a circus. We're watching a guy shoot out of a cannon and land on a platform. Do you think that can be done in 0.125 seconds? No, definitely not. That's really fast. You can't even blink that fast. It could maybe happen in 3 seconds. That's really our only other option. So we're going to go with this one. 3 seconds is how long it takes for the Acrobat to pop out of the cannon and land on a platform. Okay, so that's numbers 1 and 2. You're going to do number 3 the same way as number 1. And you're going to do number 4 the same way as number 2. So very similar setups. Number 4, notice it's only t squared. There's no t in the middle. So right away you can tell that A is going to be negative 16, but there's no t in the middle. So B is 0. Now you need to figure out what C is going to be equal to. You're going to take this 6 and do something with this 1,250. Okay, I will host a Zoom on Monday to answer any of your questions on these notes. And I will also answer any questions you have about the quiz. Okay, have a good weekend. Enjoy the holiday with your family and stay positive. Okay, thank you. Bye.